There's a certain kind of love that never quite lands. It lives in glances that almost meet, in words that almost form, in promises that tremble but never arrive. It feels like standing on a shoreline, watching a ship that never docks, close enough to see the sails, far enough to stay forever waiting. For some, this becomes a way of life. They are drawn not to what is theirs, but to what always stays just out of reach. Not to the arms that open, but to the ones that stay closed, just enough to keep the longing alive. To chase the unattainable is to live inside a paradox, wanting closeness, but finding safety in distance. It's a hunger shaped by both desire and defense. The ache to be seen colliding with the fear of being truly known. In psychology, this pattern often begins in the early geography of attachment. When love was inconsistent, conditional, or withdrawn, the child learned something quietly devastating: that love must be earned through pursuit, that warmth follows effort, that safety lives on the other side of anxiety. And so, they grow up mistaking tension for connection and scarcity for significance. If love feels easy, it feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliar feels unsafe. The calm of secure love is misread as emptiness. The thrill of uncertainty becomes the proof that it's real. To chase what you cannot have is not always about pride or obsession. It's often about survival. In childhood, if affection came in flashes, a smile after tears, a hug after silence, the nervous system began to equate longing with life. The waiting, the guessing, the striving. These became the emotional rhythms of existence. Love was not a gentle presence, but a pattern of pursuit. So the adult keeps reaching for those who mirror that first blueprint. Unavailable partners, distant mentors, emotionally absent friends. It's not that they don't see the red flags, they do, but something deeper whispers, "This feels right." Not because it is good, but because it is known. In Jungian terms, they are not chasing a person, but a projection, an image of their own unloved self reflected in someone else's distance. The unattainable becomes a mirror that both wounds and defines them. Each rejection, each absence, each silence whispers the same ancient lie: you must prove your worth to be chosen. And so, the chase becomes a ritual, not for love, but for identity. Because without the struggle, who are they? Without the longing, what remains? There's a strange power in wanting something you can't have. It keeps you moving. It gives you direction. It spares you from stillness. To chase the unattainable is to stay suspended in the promise of almost. Almost loved. Almost enough. Almost home. It's safer than arriving, because arrival means confrontation. It means facing the quiet question that pursuit helps you avoid. What if, even when love is here, I still don't feel whole? And so they keep running, but never arriving. They love from afar, dream instead of dwell, ache instead of rest. Because in some secret way, distance feels more merciful than disappointment. Maybe you see yourself here. Maybe you've loved someone who never fully turned toward you, and still, you couldn't turn away. Maybe you've mistaken intensity for intimacy, or confusion for depth. Maybe you've chased ghosts because they made your loneliness feel meaningful. You tell yourself you want love, but sometimes what you really want is the ache before it. Because the ache is familiar, and familiarity feels safer than happiness ever did. There's a quiet honesty in realizing this, that the heart can crave its own suffering when suffering is what it understands. To chase the unattainable is to keep one's own vulnerability at bay. As long as love remains unreachable, the self never has to risk being fully seen. It's a controlled wound, one that hurts but stays predictable. If you always reach for what won't reach back, then your fear of rejection is never tested, because rejection is built into the design. You already know how the story ends, and in that knowing, there is a strange comfort. It's easier to romanticize the absence than to endure the presence, to idealize the distant than to engage with the real, to love an idea of someone untouchable, perfect, safe in their distance, than to face the mess of human closeness. Because real intimacy demands surrender, and surrender demands trust. And trust is something the wounded heart learned long ago to withhold. In the realm of fantasy, everything stays beautiful. You can imagine how they'd look at you, what they'd say, how they'd make you feel. You can build a sanctuary where nothing ever shatters, because it's never truly lived. But fantasy has a price. It starves the present. It turns your days into waiting rooms, your mind into a loop of what-ifs. You become a ghost haunting your own life. Alive, but not living. The unattainable person, the unreachable dream, the forever postponed happiness. They all serve the same purpose, to keep you suspended between hope and despair, where you can still believe, but never have to face loss. It's not love that holds you there. It's fear, disguised as devotion. Healing begins when you realize that what you're chasing is not them, it's you. The version of you who still waits at the edge of someone's affection. The child who once believed that love was something you must suffer for. To stop chasing the unattainable is not to give up on love. It's to reclaim the part of you that learned to confuse longing with living. You begin to notice the quiet moments when love is available. The friend who listens, the stranger who smiles, the ordinary peace of your own company. You start to see that safety was never in the chase. It was in the pause. This isn't about forcing yourself to stop wanting. It's about understanding why you want what hurts you. And when you understand, the spell begins to break. The unattainable loses its glow, and you no longer mistake its distance for depth. Love stops being a battlefield and starts being a garden, one that doesn't need to be conquered, only tended. In time, you learn a softer rhythm, one where love doesn't require tension to feel alive, where calm doesn't mean boredom, and stability doesn't mean the absence of passion. You start to find beauty not in what escapes you, but in what stays. You realize that real love is not a chase, it's a meeting, not an obsession, but a recognition. And the people who truly see you, they might not make your heart race with chaos, but they will make your soul exhale. This is the quiet revolution of healing, learning to receive what you once thought you had to run after. The tragedy of chasing the unattainable is not that we never catch it. It's that we forget we were never meant to. Because the one we've been pursuing was never outside of us. It was the reflection of our own unloved self, waiting patiently to be found. And the moment we stop running toward others for what we already carry within, we finally arrive home. Some loves are meant to awaken you, not stay with you. And the greatest awakening is realizing you were never unworthy, only unfinished.